good to go. Oh, bless you. So I have a business for 10 years now based on vintage buttons, and it started out with just a jar of buttons that I bought for $10. I brought them home. There was a button on there that said Caesar, and that was the name of the dog we had just adopted, so that was kind of exciting. And then people just started turning over their grandmother's button tins, and I would make them jewelry for just their family members with just their family heirloom buttons. And so when you find these old treasures of boxes, you never know what's going to be at the bottom. And a lot of people think there's nothing in there that's worth it, but actually, by the time we get it sorted, there's so many fun things. And I'll find remnants of women's lingerie, men's belt buckles, all kinds of things. People who don't know about buttons, you can go to button shows and see buttons that were worn to George Washington's inauguration, or French painted portraits on ivory that are 400 years old. So buttons are really fabulous. So here we go, let's dig in. Kiki, God bless you for hanging in there. So what's in here mostly I'm seeing is a lot of plastic buttons from the 50s. Buttons that have holes are called sew-through. Buttons that have a hook on the back, that's called a shank. This is a little Mexican fiesta hat. That button is probably at a value of $10. There's probably over 250 different categories of buttons. People collect them for all different reasons, and they compete with them. So they do what's called a tray, which is a board, and it has a theme, and then they collect as many buttons as they can in that theme. Okay, cover your own buttons. Plastic, plastic. You can see these ones, they do look mid-century. Some of them, if they start to get, see this has green on it, and it will infect the other buttons. So that what I'll do is remove that from the herd, and that is not a keeper. Some people clean them, but now isn't this darling? This looks like, I don't know, is that an ice cream cone? It's plastic. That is considered, that with the hook on top, that's actually a charm. So that'll probably go in my charm box. I do a lot of jewelry shows and things, and people go into my charm trays. So the hat and the ice cream so far are the fun ones that we've found. So I'm just going to quickly pick out some plastic ones, get them out of the way so we can get to some fun ones. The plastic sew-through buttons, I don't do anything with those. So that's probably a plastic button from the 30s. I have a friend that just adores those. This is plastic. It looks like mother of pearl, but it's not. This is chalk for marking up, you know, when you mark up clothing to have it altered. It's a lot of plastic. I also sell this plastic that's sew through by the scoop at my shows, usually about, I don't know, $3 a scoop. So this is mother of pearl. This is classic, how these, see how those are all on a string? That's classic from that era that didn't throw anything away. More plastic buttons. So that one has a face on it, but it's fake metal, so it's not a value. That's a little wood button. Oh, well, isn't this fun? See what I mean? You never know what you'll find in here. Look, it's a Santa Claus pin. It's beautiful. It's in great shape. It does not have a back mark, but that will probably sell for about $15. It's a really beautiful Santa. So far, that's the best find of the bucket. Put that right there. So these great big cloth buttons probably went on a jacket, probably in the 50s. More buttons strung together. That is a glass button with glass shank on the backside. Plastic. Old price tag. Now there's a little navy button. I don't know if you can see the anchor, but that may just have been a navy theme and not an actual navy button. Mother of pearl. This is a spool of thread. People collect those. That's just more plastic and a wood button. More plastic. Silver buttons are harder to find. I don't know why, but they are. Hook and eye pins. Okay, isn't that fun? So that is a bird with like a lighthouse with some gems. This was probably a pin. The bird has a little beak. The back of it is broken, so that will just go in my trinket drawer. And people buy these kind of things because they can glue it and mount it onto something. Kind of a fun find. Huge button. These are great for quilters. They like these great big buttons. They do all kinds of things with them. So though there's a few in here, so that might get lumped up together. Just more of these kind of buttons. So this button was actually meant to cover and replace a button that's broken. Okay, this is beautiful. This is celluloid. You can tell by the shank on the back. Celluloid has a potential of destroying itself if it's kept in plastic. So it's not good to store these kind of buttons in a plastic box. They actually need to breathe. They will start to smell like formaldehyde and start to crumble. So these are, look at how beautiful those buttons are. Gosh, those are really nice. That's probably from the 70s. So if there's more of these, I'll sell these together as a collection. More buttons lumped together. Buttons strung together, very typical. Okay, so this is interesting. So they're all in a bag together, and what I see in there are snowflakes, like a crown. You hear how loud those buttons are? Metal buttons do have a noise factor to them. So if you're going to put those on a bracelet, you have to be aware, do I want to listen to that kind of noise? I wore one of these bracelets once to the movies, and my husband's like, I'm going to need you to take that off. That's too loud. And he was right. It's too loud. Isn't that a pretty button? That's an interesting button. Look at that. Look at the size of that. With the metal shank on the back. Okay, so that is from a bolo tie, where the ribbon would go down the sides, they'd crimp it. And so that went on a bolo tie. This is a mother of pearl button. So in Arizona, we have an annual button show. It wasn't during COVID, but it's coming back in February. They bring in 40 vendors from around the United States, and they have all their buttons are on trays, and you flip through them like record albums, and you go to the categories you're interested in. I like people, and I like lucite, and I like rhinestone, and I like animals. But there's just every category you could think of. So they have what they call a poke box, and this is what a poke box would be. Everything in there is a price. Let's say 4 for $1, and you can just poke and go through it and pick out all the things that you like. And so that's a poke box. So those are strung together. Okay, isn't this beautiful? Look, it's a cross. Really, really lovely. That'll go on the treasure pile. I think that's very sweet. It's a rose. So here's a little, looks like a lucite button with rhinestones, and it's actually, they call that paste, a rhinestone. That's sweet. Here's a quarter. Let me just look and see what year that is. It's all rusted over, I can't tell. But I'll just put that right there. More brass buttons. So that's a sew through. It's tin. Looks like it's punched. That's a really lovely button. That's a very old button. So I really, really like these little pearl buttons. They could come off of a sweater or a wedding dress. And so when I do my bridal bouquet charms, I do really like to use these little tiny pearl buttons. Look at how small that button is. That is a shoe button. So that went on a shoe, and they would use a shoe hook. Oops, I dropped it. They would use a shoe hook to hook that over. Oh, a penny. Let me just pull that penny. Okay, just more plastic. But it does help to tip them all over and to see what's actually in there. You just never know. Look, there's a little paste rhinestone. Okay, these are very heavy. These are glass beads. Well, but they're actually a button. But that is a gorgeous set. Wash those up and they'll be nice and clear. But they're heavy. Okay, isn't that sweet? That's a buckle with paste or rhinestones. It's got a little bit of a yellow tint to it. It's lucite. Lucite's usually from the 30s or 40s. I've never seen one like that before. Oh, those are charming. Those are little flower buttons. Hang on one second. Hang on one second. My son's here to do the grass, and so we're going to get him to come in and say hi. Come on in, Nolan.
Oh, is that a camera?
It is. Look, you're on my Twitch, and I have one viewer, Kiki.
Hello, Kiki.
And so look, I'm doing a button tin.
Very nice.
We're going through everything in the buttons.
Very nice.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to do the one.
Appreciate it. Love you.
Stuff. What do you want?
Love you.
Headphones, big bar?
Headphones, big headphones or little headphones?
Anywhere.
Yeah, they're all over.
Coverings?
You got it? Love it. Okay, I'm back. Oh, hold on, my camera went down. Hang on a second. Oh, I'm back up. Okay, here we go. Okay, not uncommon for them to do this, to keep all their safety pins. Think of everything you get a safety pin and how we just throw them away, but that generation did not. I will leave those all together and put that in my trinket box. Another one of this, that'll be a pair with the other one. Okay, I love this one. My gosh, my gosh. I'm gonna have to soak that in a little soap and water and wash that, and she will be brilliant. So the shank is in a little bit rough condition in the back. You can see that the thread is still sewn on it. And that's a pot metal. So it wasn't an expensive, but it probably was on a sweater. Okay, those are interesting. The square button with a little shank on the back. More plastic. I have a friend who loves plastic. That's her favorite thing. So we often trade buttons when we go through these old boxes. This is another celluloid button. You'll see by that shank on the back. It's a dome made of the same texture. This metal button's lovely. It has a mirror in it, and so it's reflective. Those are lovely buttons. I need to get a second tray. I filled this one up. Okay, stand by. Okay, I don't have another tray. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna do a box. How about that? I didn't plan for that. Kiki, you have any questions on buttons? Nope. Okay. Here we go. Okay, I think that one is super fun. That is just a great big Lucite button with the shank on the back. It's actually plastic. So that was probably great on a big sweater or overcoat. I am kind of predicting that whoever had this button tin did live somewhere in colder climate than Arizona, because there's a lot of sweater buttons in this package, and we just don't wear sweaters like that. Oh, hello. Hello. Look at the jewel. My gosh, she is gorgeous. So what I do with these, I make great big necklaces, and these are beautiful on those necklaces. Look, there's a little bit of the gold thread still attached. The shank is broken off the back. So this might go in and it's missing a stone. So this is still good to use if you're making artwork. Look at this beautiful one with the amber stones. So that is actually a cuff link. Isn't that interesting? Yes. So this beauty is a cuff link, which I would easily use on jewelry because I could put a jump ring through the very top where there's a hole. So I will definitely use that. Basic buttons. So here is a brass button that has been eaten alive by the fungus created by celluloid buttons. So this one I can't keep. I won't wash it and work with it. I will just get rid of it. Take it out of the population so it doesn't hurt anyone else. Lots of just lovely different textures. More brass buttons on a string, cloth or fabric, some more little tiny pearl buttons that might have been on wedding dresses, brass. That is probably a navy button with the anchor right there. What is this? Look at that. So this is a metal button. It has oxidized. It has the metal shank, no marking on the back side. But that would be really fun on something kind of earthy and a little angel. Sweet. Set that over there. Plastic. This one is a Girl Scout button. The emblem is on there. Okay, let's see what that says. Canada. So this is Canadian. Anchor is probably there. That's cool. That looks like a rock. We've seen these great big ones. Look at the size of this beauty. I mean, it's fabulous. These buttons, to buy buttons this large in the store are very expensive. So, sweater buttons. Just gonna pick out ones we've already seen. Just get them out of the way. Oh, hello, gorgeous. Look at you. All the stones intact. She's a brooch. You can tell by the pin on the backside. She is turn of the century. This is Edwardian. It's probably from the 1910s. So you pull this pin out to release it. So this is a very, very old pin. This is beautiful. I will take a brush and dust it. I will take a picture of it. I will Google image search it and then see if I can't find a date on it or something else. But so far, she's the treasure of the box. Set that over there. So this is celluloid, and you can tell by the shank, but she's starting to crumble. She's starting to disintegrate, so I will kick her out of the tribe. I'm sorry, girl, you gotta go. This is a darling cufflink. It's a pearl cufflink, and this would be very sweet on one of my bridal bouquet charms or a necklace or something of that sort. So I will keep that for sure. Old keys, people like old keys. Some kind of little wand, more plastic. Another spool. Okay, this is really beautiful. This is probably Navajo, and that is sterling silver. I will polish that up and definitely use that on a bracelet or a necklace. I mean, it would be gorgeous as a centerpiece, just like that. But I mean, so gorgeous. This is super fun. Okay, so this is celluloid with a blue stone and rhinestones or little paste. It's an excellent shape. It is yellowed. Um, it's not celluloid, it's plastic. Maybe that's why it's in good shape. That's a keeper. I love these little pearls like this. So what I do with bridal bouquet charms is I take an old watch, I take it off the band, I take the battery out and the second hand out, and I set it permanently to the time of a wedding, and then we add a vintage wedding dress button, charms, and all kinds of beautiful things, and then the bride hooks it on her bouquet, and it's a keepsake for the wedding. So let me show you one. So this is what it looks like. So vintage watch face, old pearls, buttons and charms and all kinds of things. And then what some people do is they personalize it with charms that are important to the bride or groom. So this is what we do. And so what I'm able to do is take like these pearls that I just found and add them to these kind of bouquet charms, and they just add a little sweetness to it. Okay, let's see. Plastic, cloth. Okay, so that I believe is a navy button, but possibly not. I have to do some research on this one. Do you see the anchor there? We'll have to see. I'm not sure on that one. Here is another celluloid button that is breaking down, so I'm going to pull it from the tribe. Okay, this is sweet. Look at this. So that is base metal with just some reflection work done on it. It looks like it was a buckle of some kind. It can't be opened, but that will be lovely on a necklace. Big metal buttons, little buttons. These ones, look, they've got the green all over them, so those go out of the tribe. Pearl button. Old zipper. People do all kinds of stuff with old zippers. Oh, she's so cute. She is celluloid as well. You could tell. Oh, is she plastic? I think she's plastic. Oh. A big fun buckle. Two buckles, probably I'll sell those together. Here's more of those great big buttons. She's cute. Give that girl a little washing, little magnifying glass. Paste buttons, reflective button. Big brass button. Mother of pearl buttons strung together. Plastic, plastic. This girl's out of the tribe. This is celluloid. No, it's not. That is interesting. So my hands are starting to feel very dirty, and they do need a good washing. That's a sweet buckle. It does, oh, it does move. I have done bracelets with all of these little buckles on them before, and that's super sweet. More great big sweater buttons. Plastic, plastic. Anchor. Okay, that is an interesting button. So there's a layer of plastic on the top, and then you can see that the details that are down below. Metal shank, plastic button. Interesting. Another one of the hat buttons. I do love these baby rhinestone buttons. Oops, I can use those for a lot of different things. Okay, isn't that beautiful? Look at this girl. That's an interesting button. Okay, so little hands, little praying hands. I don't know what that was used for, but that is really, really cool. I kind of hope this inspires people to create a catch-all box where they put these kind of things in it and save it for a family member. They look like screws. Oh, look at this girl all greened over. Gotta go. Okay, look at this button. It looks like woven pieces of yarn, and it's possibly celluloid. That is very interesting. That's a keeper. Another one of the pretty blue ones that I really like. Oops, keeping that. Look at this great big buckle. That's cool. Another quarter. You can tell what year it is. $2,000. Okay, super sweet. Pink is so popular. People love pink. Pink and green. Darling. Plastic. I've seen this button before. I've had it. It's great big. Another pink button. Can you see the face? Another buckle. Okay, what a fun cuff link. Cufflinks must be like earrings. It's easy to lose one. I'll keep that out. Little rhinestones. Glass. Oh, this is a great find. Now they are kind of yellow, but these are sweater or little wedding dress buttons, which I really like. My hands are looking grubby. Okay, isn't that interesting? So it's just they're all wood. Looks like little bells. That one has the green on it. So there was a time that somebody gave me 17 tins of buttons. Her mother was the last survivor of her group of friends, and as somebody would pass, the buttons would get passed to the mom. So then when her mom was passing, she didn't know what to do with these 17 tins of buttons. So she gave them all to me, total strangers, so very generous. And what I did was, when I lifted the lids, I photographed them because I felt like they were little time capsules. And so after I photographed them, I had them for a while, and I approached other companies to see if they would print a calendar, and they said no. So I did my own calendar, and so I did one for 2020, and now I'm printing another one from 2022. And I photographed the other tin of buttons I had for that calendar. I did not photograph this one, but I did photograph the other one. More spools and chalk, wedding dress button. Okay, there's a military button. Here is the match to that other buckle that we had. So that's unusual to have two of those. So this is breaking down, this green button. It's all cracked on the back side and it's coming apart. Look at that green one. I have to say, I've never had a bucket that's had so many green pieces in it like this one does. Which tells me this box probably was not looked at for decades, and they sat in here together. These are interesting. Look at these brass buttons. It's a collection of them. So that's how many buttons were on somebody's shirt. Here is a button that's dying. It's all crumbling. That is a glass button. It's beautiful. Crumbling. Another rock. We saw one of these earlier, but this one's destroyed. These are all destroyed. Destroyed. Just some plastic. Nice metal. This one is beautiful. So it looks pink on screen, but it's more like a mauve. It's celluloid, it looks like, with that shank. That's really beautiful. That's a keeper. Another glass. Remember we saw that one earlier. Okay, so there's a lovely, lovely clip-on earring. Needs a little bit of cleaning, but really is in pretty good shape. Let's see if it's got a name on it. So when there was an earring and necklace set, it was typically the earrings that were marked who the maker was. So I'm guessing this is from the 40s. Okay, so this is what's considered cut steel. It's all rusted over. I'm curious to see if I can get that rust off or not. Cut steel is fabulous. And I think that's probably from the 30s. I'll set that one aside. This is just work or uniform buttons. Nobody really wants those. I don't know why. Okay, this is lovely. This is, okay, so this is Lucite. It's stencil colored on the back, so the color comes through. I don't know if that's hand painted or not. That's a little sparkler. That's kind of fun too. Look at all those little pearl buttons kept together. So that as a cluster with the thread is cute, and I would maybe hang that as a cluster together off of a bracelet. So here's more of those face buttons that we saw earlier. There's some damage on some of them. I can't read who it is, but it is a face. Look at this needle. I think that's crochet. I'm not sure. I don't crochet. Not a very basic plastic buttons. A marble. Plastic buttons. Here is another one of those cufflinks. So that's exciting because now I have a pair. I have a pair of beautiful cufflinks. So this is a stone that fell out of something. Oops. So that stone I'll set aside because I can use that to repair something else. That's fun. There's a few rhinestone buttons in there. Buttons can also be used in the classroom to teach color and sorting. A dirty penny. That's actually glass. So what happened was I went to an estate sale and hi Avery, thank you so much. I went to an estate sale and they had just the greatest stuff. An older woman had died and I liked everything that was in her driveway. So I asked the kids, hey, do you have any buttons? And they're like, no, we already donated them to the Button Society. I'm like, oh, well, that's terrific. And then a little bit later, a young man walks out with this huge picnic basket and then went back in the house and got another one for me. And then I said, do you have anything sewing? And they brought out these French crushed velvet 100-year-old pincushions. And I'm like, I'll take those too. So if you go to an estate sale, be sure to ask because they don't always put it out because they assume nobody wants it, but we know that's not true. Okay, so there's a copper button. That looks like it's Navajo, which is terrific. I tested that on my teeth. This one is glass. I don't know if that's considered a stencil button or not. My friend loves the stencil buttons, so I'll set that aside. I'm just picking out all the little bits of problems. That one's very interesting. So my girlfriend Nancy, who's my button mentor, knows so much about buttons. She's got a decade on me on collecting buttons, but she knows what a lot of these are, and she loves little plastic buttons and early plastic, and so she would like to see some of these as well. Here is a bit from a cufflink. Oops. Which can be used for something else. Another hat, another little Mexican hat. I think those are fun. There's a lot of those buttons. Actually, that one's different, isn't it? Those are leaves. That is very cool. Keep those. Okay, what is this? So, I don't know what that is. Venus American pencil. So that's a pencil for marking clothes, maybe, for alterations? I'm guessing. Made in the USA. That's very cool. Somebody will want that. Have some needles. Here's another one of those. Old rubber bands. I don't know why they would keep those. There's a letter A. That looks like it came off of some toy. My oldest son's name's Avery, and so I don't know. He's been helping me with this. We'll set that letter A aside. I like monograms, but I don't think my kids do. Great big buttons. A lot of just, let's see, some more plastic buttons. Cluster. Okay, there's a sparkler. I do love those. I just can't help it. This is a bit from a necklace, which I will keep because you just never know. Okay, that's interesting. It's a cloth button. It's not anything in particular. It kind of looks like a clock. We got a belt buckle with a little bit of rust on it. Another little buckle. Sweet, I'll keep that. Plastic. Plastic, metal. Oh, we got a pin. Let's see what the pin is. Interesting. I believe that's Girl Scouts. I think I might have had one of those on my badge. Do you see how at the bottom there's still treasures? So you just got to keep digging. I'm out of room in my box. I'm just dumping them on my desk. So I will jar up all these buttons. Nolan. So this one's out of the tribe because look, she's getting destroyed. Hey, bud, you out of here?
Yeah, I'm out.
Oh, did you get your money?
Yeah.
Okay, love ya.
What do you want?
Oh, you did the pool?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Have fun.
Hey, thanks, bud. That's my Nolan. Okay, another leather button with the leather shank. So do you see this type of a back? You would sew down through it. Doesn't have a shank, but you sew through it. That one has the reflection on the back. This metal is all rusted over. So I'm going to put this with the other rusted over metal button. I do like these reflective back ones. Oh, come on, turn back on. Hang on, sorry. I don't know what happened there. Hang on a sec. Okay, hang on everybody. I lost my camera. I think my battery died, basically. Okay, we are almost through this bucket, and I am just going to, let me go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just sign off and tell you thank you so much. And I need to learn to get a second battery for my camera because my camera died, the one that's on my hands. So, what a wonderful bucket we just went through. And I sure appreciate you guys tuning in to my second Twitch. And I have another bucket to do coming up. And I also have a jar of cameos that I want to go through one at a time. So I'm looking forward to doing all those. So you guys, thanks for chiming in. Kiki, thanks for helping me on my audio. And you guys have a great day.